Good morning. We'll call the Development Review Committee meeting to order. October 30th, 2024. We'll start with roll call. Community Development is present. Police.
Andrew King.
Public Services.
Richard Earps here.
Fire.
Jeremy Holderfield.
And it appears building is not present. We have 4 special events on the agenda this morning. We'll start with Trader May's Christmas Festival. And Lexi from Rec is here.
So Trader May's is looking to do a festival with about 20 craft vendors on their property. They're expecting about 200 guests, and there'll be no alcohol. The parking will be located on the back of their property.
Okay, any questions for the Recreation Department on this?
No question.
All right, hearing none, we'll go around. Community Development has nothing else. Police.
Nothing.
Okay. Public Services.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Fire.
No comments. Thank
The
you.
building has joined us.
I don't have
Building is
anything,
in the
thanks.
building. All right. Next one, Epilepsy Association of Central Florida.
So this is another holiday festival on Saturday, December 7th from 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. It'll be at Camp Weewa, mostly in the dining hall. They'll also be using the pavilion. They're expecting about 200 people. They'll be auctioning off trees and wreaths, and there'll be raffle prizes and other activities. There will be alcohol, and they are going to hire off-duty. And parking will be in the open area near the Camp Weewa office.
Any questions? All right, Community Development has no questions or comments. Police.
No comments.
Public Services.
I don't have anything. Thank you.
Fire.
No comments. Thank you.
Building.
I don't have anything, thanks.
The next one, Reimagine Communities Jingle Bell Book Bash.
So this event will be at Kitland on Thursday, December 12th from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. They're expecting about 75 people. It's to promote literacy and celebrate the students' academic work during the year. They'll have a very minimal setup, just tables for the activities. No alcohol, and parking will be on Edwards Field.
All right, Community Development has no questions or comments. Police.
No comments.
Public Services.
Don't have anything. Thanks.
Fire.
No comments. Thanks.
Building.
I don't have anything, thank you.
Okay, the last one is Brandon Merriweather 31 Ways Foundation, Christmas in the Park.
So this event will be on Saturday, December 21st from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. At Billy Dean. It's a festival toy giveaway. There'll be about 300 people, very minimal setup. They are hiring a private security company, no alcohol, and parking will be located in the paved spaces around the building and the field parking.
Community Development has no questions. Police.
Actually, if on all these, if you could just copy me in the email, as well as when you send the one for off duty over to either Captain Brick or, because I believe Lieutenant Workman's going to be out for a while.
Yep. Okay.
So,
Public Services.
don't have anything. Thanks.
Fire.
No comments. Thank you.
Building.
I don't have anything, thanks.
All right. Next item on the agenda, thank you, Lexi, is the Advent Health Special Exception. And June Sauna is the project manager.
So this is a special exception request for food processing and beverage bottling of Advent Health Fudge Road Complex. They're located at 4051 Fudge Road, zoned in light industrial with the industrial land use. So food processing and beverage bottling is permitted use in light industrial zoning district with a special exception permit.
All right, the applicant is here in attendance as well. If you had anything to add.
No, John Townsend with Macintosh Associates in Orlando, Florida. This is basically a food. You call it food production, but it's they prepare the meals for the hospital, so it's not like a heavy, meat packing plant thing. They're just going to prepare the meals and send them out to all the different hospitals. So it's fully encompassed in the building. So they're not going to store anything outside. Smells are not going to be probably bread or something if you smell it once in a while, but that's about it. So,
Any questions for the applicant? All right, hearing none, Community Development has no further questions, comments, and recommends approval. Police.
No comments.
Public Services.
I don't have any other comments other than I think that the lady might have started to raise her hand. I don't know if she's with someone that is allowed to speak during this, but I thought I would just mention it. And I don't have any comments myself.
Yeah, there's no public input allowed in the DRC, but this is Monica from the Natural Gas District. So if you want to touch base with Mr. Townsend afterwards, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right, Fire.
I know we have some water issues out there off of Fudge, correct? Is that where we have hydrants that run along that area? I know we're not off Hogshead, looks like, or off of Creation Drive. So we're running all new water
Yes.
to this area.
So we have a approved set of construction drawings for phase one, which includes what you see there, plus the widening of Hogshead Road, including extension of water main, uh, force main, and reclaim main down the road from Hermit Smith all the way down. So you'll have a public um, potable main with fire hydrants on them. I think we're doing a 16-inch main coming
Okay.
down there.
All right, cool. And then when do you guys project phase two? I guess that's the future. And do you have any projections on that?
No projections at this time. However, um, we're making sure that what comes up through phase one is oversized enough to accommodate what they might do. There was discussion of a laundry up there, but I don't know where or when that's going to go anywhere. Um, and then, yeah, I just don't know.
Okay.
I mean, so.
All right, thank you.
Building.
I don't have anything. Thanks.
All right, your special exception will be scheduled tentatively for the December Planning Commission agenda.
Okay.
And June will be in touch with you regarding those dates.
Okay, and we'll get the community letters out
Yes.
to the 300 feet. So,
All right.
okay.
Sounds good. All right,
Perfect.
thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is a discussion about pre-application meetings during the DRC, and Gene Sanchez will present that.
Good morning, Jean Sanchez with the Community Development Department. This topic just came about, I think, maybe a few years ago. I think Bobby brought it up before. Um, and it's because we wanted to kind of streamline pre-application meetings and DRC meetings. I know a lot of the DRC members aren't always able to make the pre-app meetings. I know y'all are doing several things at once, and a lot of you are in the field. So we didn't want you to be surprised once projects came through or submit an application, and then you just get an email stating that this project has submitted. Because really, the whole premise of the informational meeting is that we all know what's coming up, what's going on. We kind of give them a little bit of a level of comfort on what staff really wants to look at certain sites and stuff like that. Lately, I know it's mostly planning staff that has gone, and we kind of feel badly when we send things out and bring it up to DRC and none of you have seen them, right? So I know you're able to make most of the DRC meetings, and since you're already here at DRC meetings, if you want to do a quick pre-app, maybe either the beginning or the end of our DRC items. If that works better for you all, if you're amenable to it, we can start doing that. There are a couple of municipalities I know that have been doing this for years, and it looks like it's worked well for them. One of them is Seminole County that I can recall. So if you want to try to do that, maybe we can start at the beginning of the year. If the consensus is yes, then maybe it's a great idea for you all to be at these info meetings.
Yeah, and another thing that I add is that lots of times during these information meetings, we'll get questions about where water pipes are located, sewer pipes, stormwater flows, fire flows, things like that. But we just can't answer, and that would probably be beneficial for everybody to be here and everybody's on the same page. Like Gene is saying, you all seen the project before. There's no surprises.
And we don't have a lot of the institutional knowledge with utilities and fire and stuff like that either. So it probably helped the applicant too to kind of eliminate surprises with their projects.
Anything
Well,
to add?
I guess my thoughts are the format of it, because I'm remembering back to the David Moon days with the city, and even after that, applicants would come in with having given no thought, and well, hey, I've got this piece of lot, and I want to build a water park over here in the middle of a neighborhood, and it's kind of like, well, you need to look at the land development code, and you need to hire an engineer, and they were just kind of these pie in the sky things that it seemed like a strong number of the times they just turned into the people saying,
Yeah.
oh, well, for planning and zoning reasons or land use, this crazy idea I had doesn't work. But then everyone's wasted, that 30 or 45 minutes listening to their explanation and they're looking at whatever pictures
Right.
they have. So I guess that's my concern is spending everybody's time on DRC kind of going through when people haven't done any homework at all. And again, just speaking so I can just
No, it's fine.
finish it.
No, no, I get it. We don't want to waste our
Right.
time either, to be honest with you.
Well, then
What we
let me
do,
finish my thought if that's okay.
yeah,
Is that maybe maybe we should understand more and bring it back to DRC and talk about it. Kind of what your idea is. I mean, do people get like a pre application meeting where they work out and ask questions and then maybe planning and zoning staff can come in and say, we had the pre-application meeting. They don't know where the utilities are. They don't know if they might need your fire protection on the building, and so maybe staff could present the questions that y'all were unable to answer at the pre-application meeting. But what I'm concerned with is these applicants come in with these pie in the sky things, and they just want to just talk about their dreams and aspirations in life, and it takes a lot of time. And I know we want to be polite to people, but everybody up here spending time with that doesn't seem like an efficient use of
well,
our time.
okay, I get what you're saying. So we can actually resolve those issues. One, a lot of the informational meetings are being vetted by either Mary or Bobby before they even get scheduled for anything at all. So if it's something we can just address by doing a phone call, we do that ourselves. The second thing is these informational meetings that we've had, particularly in the last year or so, it's been a little bit unproductive. It's something that the code actually gives the option to the applicant to be able to do business here and projects here. So if it's unproductive to them to not have certain information, even the most basic things about utilities, it really doesn't do any good to have informational meetings at all. But it's something that code requires, and I think city council wants it.
Yeah, so the land development code requires informational
Yeah.
meetings. We're required to have them. Like Gina's saying, like I said before, there's questions we can't answer about utilities. We require them to turn in a plan anyway prior to the informational meeting so we can review it ahead of time, give them proper information zoning. But there's such things that can't be answered or that you guys might have your department might have the expertise in that those individuals are looking for. Usually people that come in with pie in the sky, aspirational, talking about their hopes and dreams, those types of things, we'll look at their horoscope and go over that with them. But as far as
Bobby does a good
yeah,
job.
yeah, with like Gene said, we'll just answer it on the phone or something like that or through emails. I mean, it's usually vetted before it even gets to an informational type meeting.
We can limit their time too. We can limit them to 5 minutes or whatever it
Yeah, like
is.
15 minutes or something like that,
Yeah.
and not schedule no more than like 2 per DRC or something.
I think it'll help me with what I do, being that I'm on the go all the time. I'm
Yeah.
rarely able to. Zoom meetings are not something that I can. When I'm told that I really need to be in there, I can try to make time for. But like, I'm doing Zoom meetings driving on the road. I mean, it's just
I
it's not always the best thing for us to be doing from a safety perspective. So long as they're vetted, long as they're timed, I think those are big pieces for it. And it also allows me to sit here and focus in on something instead of being where we're at. Because it's you're right. I think the informational meetings for me they're unproductive. Like it's very challenging for me. So
Yeah, and usually if somebody's going to be serious about a project, they're just going to cut to the chase and want the utility information, the fire flow information, any information the police department, building department might have to add as well.
And this is not something that every project coming in is going to have to do. It'll probably be a handful over a certain amount of time.
yeah,
It won't be every project.
it's only required for like certain applications, like entitlements and stuff. They actually try to do one info meeting for even if they have like 3 applications associated with that project. We allow them to do that. So to kind of try to limit, we probably get how many per week do you think? Five,
About
6?
5 or 6 a week.
Yeah.
We got one this afternoon. Where somebody wants to possibly open a restaurant off of MA Board,
Mhm.
which is really more just a less a land use, minor site plan deal. But a lot of these bigger projects, it'd be definitely important to have them brought before the DRC and stuff as well.
Because I know I call Jeremy a lot of times, because a lot of times it's fire stuff, and I call him and tell him, even during the Zoom meeting, to tell him he needs to attend because it's something he probably wants to know more about or whatever. Um, it's a due diligence, and I know it's part of the applicant's due diligence process. So
Well, we might be able to help in sort of the initial meetings because I know that Jeremy's got a nice brochure for the things that he requires with fire, and Public Services has a link to where people can request where the utilities are relative to their site, and that's a really straightforward thing that we're clarifying now with both having the right person give the answer. I mean, it's one thing to give a GIS shot of where the lines are and what size they are and where they're near the project, but one of the kinks we're working out is that some of the staff that are saying yes, you have to connect, no, you don't have to connect. That some of that's not clear in the code, so we're kind of working through that right now. But at least where the utilities are and the size of the utilities, we could give folks. I know they ask for fire flow a lot, and that's really something they need to come up with on their own. But we could put that on the same piece of paper, a little bit like following Jeremy's lead. Like, well, here's the question that you're most probably going to ask, and then, if you have these questions, here's where to go for an answer. I think that might help you in your initial meetings. I guess that's one thought. I guess I'm wondering. I haven't seen the section in the land development code that calls for having pre-application meetings and who should attend them. But it reminds me of something DRC may want to think about after we get a new community development director on board. Is that my recollection of the makeup of the development review committee is the the managers of each department: finance, recreation, community development. All
I
the
don't
different
think
departments.
finance was listed. Although I'll tell you, rec is listed. I think right, rec.
Might be something we just want to
Yeah.
rethink. I don't know that we need to do it before we have a director, but it's just something that occurs to me from time to time. And now that I'm representing all of public services, well, then that eliminates some of that. And I think it made sense to have Pam here when she was, the senior planner, no doubt. But she wasn't on the list necessarily of the people, from what I recollect.
Hmm.
Um, so maybe it makes sense to ask City Council to to rethink who's on the development review committee at some time in the future. And I don't want to push. I don't want to be the one pushing that issue through. I'm just kind of raising it just because we're talking in that realm.
Says it right on the screen. Department head of each city department shall serve as a member of the DRC. They may designate a representative to serve the department. Um,
Yeah.
Basically, and it says this community development director is the chairperson of the DRC. So Jim Hitt was the chair of the DRC, even though I was playing Jimmy Fallon. but,
And we are technically designees.
and we're designees.
Yeah.
So it's up to your director to determine whether or not you're here as the designee or not.
But beyond that, you don't have to really answer about the informational meeting today. You can think about it. We'll bring it up again next TRC meeting if we have one. Um, but it's something to really think about. I think it's a little bit more efficient, really, of planning staff's time as well. It takes a lot to vet and schedule and do this. We even try to look at questions that they may have them send it to us to make sure if we need Jeremy there, I'll tell him you need to be there or whatever it is. So it's just something to think about. If police wants that, I know Chief McKinley always wants to look at things just for enforcement stuff.
Yeah, he's
So
indicated he has no issue with that.
And yeah, he'll join us. The chief will join us sometimes as his time allows
yeah,
for the
the
meetings.
chief has been pretty good about
Yeah.
joining
hmm
info meetings as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In
John.
most of these meetings, I mean, we're out of here in 15, 20 minutes at the
Mhm.
most. Another 15, 20, half hour,
Yeah.
it's not going to make that big of a deal. And I think it's better to get more of the information out early.
Correct. And that actually would save everybody's time in the long run. Really.
Or Bobby can restrict, like, maybe at each agenda, if he sees it's too full with like applications, then he can just tell them, hey, we reserve every right to move this or whatever it is. But these are things like the actual, it's not the policy, but the actual process we can kind of play around with, particularly in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. They could be scheduled. Like if somebody turns in a request for a pre-app with TRC, it wouldn't be before the DRC for like 3 or 4 weeks, scheduling wise, kind of like the way we
Yeah.
operate now.
Just one other point we may want to think about it. I guess since we're on the record here, then commenting on kind of a pie in the sky idea, making formal comments, especially since I'm bound by Florida statutes to basically be careful what I say and make sure it's correct when I say it. If someone's presenting something that's not completely baked and I'm making comments on it, then I guess there's the potential for them someday in the future to say, "Oh, but you said on the record way back when, before you knew anything about what we really wanted to do." I
So when we did concept plans, we had this disclaimer. Do you remember that? Something about it not being a concrete comment and that it is not an exhaustive list, and we reserve every right to do further research or whatever once the time comes, right, for construction plans or whatever. We can put that in our agenda and then in our info meeting
And
request.
the land development code says right here, informational meeting is intended to facilitate the application review process. Discussions are non-binding. There you go. It says it right in the code.
Okay, so we had like the same language with concept plans when we used to do them. I don't think we do them anymore. So, like I said, you can just chew on this for a little bit. We'll bring it up again next DRC meeting, whenever that is, and maybe you can do a vote or something. I don't know what you guys want to do, but it's something to just discuss today.
Any other items for discussion? Thank you, Gene.
Yeah, I have a discussion point on the stabilized surface comments with the neighborhoods coming in for emergency access points. Um, where do we stand, like, far as, do we have an ordinance or something that allows individuals to consider what's a stabilized surface? Or does that discussion come down to we make the decisions on what that is? Because my concerns are, obviously we've had some in the past emergency access points to neighborhoods that are grass or stabilized. And my concerns, obviously, we as a fire department don't allow our units to go off concrete or off paved surfaces. So allowing them to do that is kind of going against what our SOPs and procedures are. Moving forward, I don't want to accept that. My other concern is if we do millings or something to that, who's going to be the one who takes care of that and the long term effects of it, and grass growing through and causing more problems? Just have some questions regarding that and the project that came up. I kind of made me really open my eyes, thinking like I want it consistent going forward and not having anything going against that.
I think the first part of your question would be a policy decision for the fire department. I'll look through the land development code to see if there's anything on that, but I think it'd really be a policy decision as far as maintenance of it. Probably be the HOA, but if it's on a future dedicated public street, it would be the city.
I mean, but is it future dedicated street if it's an emergency access point to a neighborhood that they're putting in?
I think some of them, I'd have to go back and look at some of the plats that have been done for that, but who it's dedicated to and who the ownership and maintenance is.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's fine.
I mean,
I think Jeremy behoove you if you're saying it is a policy, make it either be asphalt or concrete
That's
to where
what
they can't do anything else.
that way there's no
Even the
issue.
millings, just have it be concrete or asphalt.
That's what I prefer. We have too many of these roads out there that no one knows what they are, where they're at. There's no rhyme or reason for us not to have it asphalt where we know we can use it. So that's my discussion point.
My thoughts along those lines is I think there is some opportunity to clean up the land development code. I think an emergency public services isn't going to want to maintain something that's not public right away, and I guess an emergency access seems to me to be something the homeowners association should maintain. But I agree, it should be asphalt with a concrete curb along the side, so the asphalt just doesn't slowly wear away on the sides, or a concrete surface. But then also that kind of goes hand in hand with a gray area that we've struggled with over the years. And the previous community development director, I'm not positive his answers were always consistent with, I think that somewhere in the code it says paved parking. Well, what does paved parking mean? I mean, that could mean pervious pavement, asphalt, concrete, that works. So, but what if pavement is smoothed out crushed rock? Well, I mean, we're in an urban community. We're a city. I don't know that we want crushed. I don't think that city council wants crushed rock parking areas in the city. I think we want we want impervious areas for the most part, or maybe pervious concrete, but so the stormwater would be directed to a stormwater pond and treated. I guess a lot of times I've seen, and I think we've approved, like rock, gravel, parking. Well, you can't run a wheelchair over that, and if oil and grease and antifreeze drip from a vehicle, it's going to drip through these rocks and it's going to go straight down into the soil, which is the whole purpose of having a stormwater thing. So I think there's some opportunity to maybe clean up that part of the code. That's all I have.
Anybody else? All right, we are adjourned.